The Trump administration continues its unprecedented targeting of foreign students, sowing panic and fear at universities all across the country as more than 1,000 students have had their legal status terminated in recent weeks. Just last week, an immigration judge ruled that Columbia University student and green card holder Mahmoud Khalil could be deported. But NBC News has learned that the government's case against Khalil is shaky after a review of more than 100 pages of documents submitted by the federal government in its efforts to deport Khalil. Quote, in some instances, the government appears to be relying on unverified tabloid articles about Khalil. In others, the government's claims about him are clearly erroneous because the timelines don't match. On Monday, another Columbia University student was taken into custody. Video shows Mohsen Madawi being detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. And ICE detained Madawi outside a Vermont immigration office where he was scheduled for an interview that was supposed to be his final step in obtaining U.S. citizenship. Back with me are Paul Butler and former Congressman Charlie Dent. You know, Mr. Madawi did an interview actually before he went to this appointment on Monday and with CBS, and they aired it tonight. And I want to play for you all what he said because it was so striking. Take a listen.
When you got the appointment, what were your thoughts?
Mixed feelings, right? It's the first feeling of like, I've been waiting for this for more than a year. And the other feeling is like, wait a minute, is this a honey trap?
You think they could be calling you in to detain you?
Correct.
He said he thought it was a honey trap, and then honey got trapped.
No, he was right. It was a setup. He was wanted to become a citizen of the United States. He was a permanent legal resident. And this was the last step. It's kind of perfunctory. He would have been, but what was his crime? He said things that the President of the United States didn't agree with. He exercised the First Amendment rights that he has as a legal permanent resident of this country. And so I hope this will be quickly reversed by trial judges, by federal district trial judges, if it goes up to the Supreme Court, if they have any respect for the First Amendment. The Supreme Court will, with the quickness, say that this person deserves to be a citizen of the United States. You don't get to kick people out of this country when they're legally here because their president doesn't like what you say.
Can we put the video back up on the screen of Mr. Madawi being taken as we talk about this? Because, look, I think that it is. We were talking about this in the makeup room, and I'm like, the people who are being taken are students who are already here on student visas, and it seems that the only link is things that they have said or potentially like done, i.e., participating in protests or speaking out on a very specific issue, and there are no crimes. The people aren't being charged with crimes. And so this, I really do believe, is a gateway, because if we allow this to happen to a certain subset of people, who's to say, Charlie, that this can't happen they can't happen to me? I know they don't like what I'm saying.
Well, look, I don't know much about this individual, but he is a legal permanent resident. He's entitled to due process. He has rights, and he should be granted those rights. I think what's happening, though, with this administration, we have to look at this a little more broadly. Mm-hmm. They're trying to restrict immigration, clearly, and including students, many of whom, I even think the president talked about taking these STEM students from overseas and granting them green cards when they graduate. Well, this flies in the face of that. But you look at that, you dismantle USAID, you get rid of soft power, you impose tariffs, protectionism, putting the walls up, so to speak, and really restrict immigration. This is all part of a signal that the United States is not open for business, that we are disengaging and isolating ourselves, I think, to our detriment in many ways. And people around the world are noticing this. Mm-hmm. And many are also questioning our commitment to the rule of law. And it's not just affecting these people who are being held. It's also a signal to many people overseas who invest money in the United States. They want rule of law. They want that. That's one reason why they invest here. But this is sending a chilling message. I think it's much broader than we're talking about, rather than just these two individuals and whether or not they've been mistreated.
Right. I mean, look, we'll put the map up on the screen. These terminations of student visas, Paul, they have hit over half of the United States in at least 31 states, with officials largely citing a seldom used 1952 foreign policy statute to take aim at their activism. It feels like we are sliding to a place where, you know how Americans are always like, this isn't who we are. This would never happen in America. It is happening.
We've been
in America.
slid. So it's not just chilling effect for students. It's also law firms. It's federal judges. It's universities themselves. It's not just resistance that they're afraid of. They're afraid of science, of facts. So they want everybody to just kowtow to whatever the Trump administration does. And if you don't, well, we could think about what happened to Mahmoud Khalil. In the Saturday night, he's coming home from dinner. ICE shows up. They snatch him. They send him to Louisiana, a place that he's never been, and he doesn't have access to lawyers for a couple of days. And then the court rules that he gets to have his case tried there, where the court's much more conservative. So they're doing what they can to get away with it. But the message isn't just for people with green cards. The message is for anybody who would dare dissent from the Trump administration.